How are you all? My name is Anthony Benelli. I've been a resident of District 13 for over 30 years. My brothers and sisters all attended, as well as myself, attended Wheeler Memorial. We all graduated from Central. We went on for advanced degrees. I earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Engineering and a Master's in Business Administration with a focus on finance and computer science. I retired from the NYPD pension fund 12 years ago. I was the director of computer operations there. I served more than 15 years in management and executive management teams. I bring a host of skills to the board. I was managed over 15 multi-million-dollar projects as project manager. I was a school trustee for District 13 from the years 2021 to 24, at which time I campaigned and advocated for the return of kindergarten, which occurred after 19 years of its absence. That freed up a whole lot of classroom space at Willow, as well as traffic, and it made it a lot easier for the parents to bring their children to kindergarten, because it was now local at all, like it used to be at all schools. I like to do the same thing with pre-K. I think pre-K should be provided locally at each of the 4 elementary schools. Parents should not have to drive their pre-K child to Howell and then transport their other children to Memorial or Central, or what have you. It's a huge burden for those families. There are numerous things that need to be done. We need a more active board. You may ask yourself, how did we get $13 million in reserve funds? How did we get to spend $2.3 million on an administration building so the administrators have private offices and toilets? Those things had nothing to do with the educating of your children. It also involved this misleading of the public for those expenditures, because if we can all remember, 3-4 years ago, when it appeared on the ballot, it never mentioned the building, never mentioned the other building. Whatever I don't capture in my opening statement, I'll capture in my closing statement. But the bottom line is, I achieved a lot in my first term, not only kindergarten, but I looked after the safety of the children, as well as the parents. I got a guardrail installed on Grove Street for the first time, crosswalks. I brought to the attention of the administration that we had millions of dollars in the bank accounts not earning interest. And then when they went to resolve it with the internal audit, they made corrective actions. But I just discovered when I foiled those bank accounts this past February, they're back to the same old nonsense. We have almost $4 million in an account in February, not earning interest, zero. That's fiduciary unacceptable behavior. And what was their response? They hired a deputy treasurer, which we never had. And Dr. LaRocca wants to put on the payroll, if this budget passes, a plumber, an assistant principal. And you can bet on it that if we get one, they're going to hire 3 more assistant principals and 3 more plumbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your opening statements.
We have a shortage of space. While I think we should all be asking ourselves, how do we move 3 to 4 classes out of Willow that was providing kindergarten and bring it to Wheeler all of a sudden? Just because I campaigned and made it a big issue, all of a sudden we have space for 3 classrooms at Wheeler. What happened to the 3 classrooms at Willow? Can't we use that space for pre-K? So there's a lot of inconsistency in messages we're getting, and that's the problem that the school board has to wrestle with. Single source information, which is coming from LaRocca. Not a single trustee in the past 10 years have visited the schools and done an inspection from top to bottom. Not a single one. They're prohibited. So how can we confirm or verify what Dr. LaRocca is saying? There's no inspections, and I think the board is at a serious disadvantage. But again, bringing it back to making sure that we're sensitive to all members of the community, we need to meet with everyone, I think on a monthly basis. Bring all the stakeholders at a meeting.
Thank you.
And meet the board of trustees.
Just pause, because you are going to continue. We are now in closing statements.
Fantastic. I have uninterrupted talking.
3
No,
minutes.
not funny. It's very serious.
3 minutes, closing statements. Thank you.
Okay. I want to point out, again, there are a lot of issues. It's very hard to cover it all, in one gathering. It's not even really a debate. We just answer questions. But if you go to my website, VSD13, you'll see I cover a lot of issues. I have a lot of documents on there, videos explaining my positions. One specific walkaway that everyone out there can recognize is that I'm urging you all to vote no on the propositions, and all the other candidates are voting yes. So, on all the propositions. That includes the investment in a building and not investment in teaching your children today that are in the schools. They're saying yes on spending $10.9 million on a building. Simple question that I asked Loper, and he was speechless. That's superintendent of the high schools. I asked him at the budget meeting last week that if you want to free up for 70 students in the high schools, then just lease space for you, yourself, and your staff. That would free up 6 to 8 classrooms where they work right now on the wing Memorial. If they left the second floor at Memorial and moved to lease space for the administrative staff, including Loper, it would free up 6 to 8 classes. That's 120 to 160 students that could be taught at Memorial, where their offices currently are. But for them to leapfrog to buy a building on money that was not spent, money that was collected from you, the parents and the residents of District 13, is offensive, and they think they can get that by us all by letting us know within the last month. I think it's apprehensible, and I think it's a strong contrast between me and the other candidates. I think the parents are rightfully angry, because I spoke to many of them, and they're pissed. And especially right now that they want to raise spending with our grocery bills going up, the gas going up. You know, it's all talk. Here's an opportunity for the teacher, this is an opportunity for the residents and the families to say no to this unjustified increase in spending. Why is she asking for almost $3 million in additional spending? She's got $13 million in the reserve funds. And let me just bring to focus one thing. How come is it that they never under budget? If they're afraid that they might go under budget by 10,000 or 100,000, what's the worry? You got 13 million in the reserves. They purposely over budget, that's my point. And the idea that we're going to invest in the future, the families that I speak to, they decided to come to District 13 because they heard it's a good school district, and it still is. But many families are leaving. The enrollments are down because a lot of parents who can afford it send their children to private schools. But they want their money that they're paying taxes for to teach their children. And they have every right to demand that. And I think it's a shame that we're going to encourage the families and the residents to say yes to these budgets, especially, you know, in light of the fact that Dr. LaRocca got herself a private office and with a private toilet.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Vanelli, do you support the budget and propositions that are being put forth for public vote on May 20th?
No, I absolutely do not. Let's be very clear. Let's just start off with this whole idea and focus on the tax levy or the tax levy limit. I think that's a distraction. What we need to focus on is the actual budget-to-budget spending, okay? Dr. LaRocca is asking for an additional $2.9 million to be spent on top of the $67 million last year. So she's asking for $69 million this year. Why is she asking for $2.9 million more? We have $13 million in reserves. How did we get $13 million in the reserve fund? Well, every year the budget passes. Sure, because they're over budgeted. The parents are paying taxes, have their children educated, not children from 10 years down the road, like in the high school. They want to buy a building for $6.5 million. That money came from the parents that bought homes in District 13. You know, Dr. LaRocca and the assistant superintendent of finance loves to say, this is not going to cost you any more money. Sure, because they collected your taxes in the past years that the parents thought they was going to their education. So it's really deceptive what they say. And just so it's perfectly clear, when the budget is not passed, they do a revote. Very undemocratic. And if it doesn't, and if they don't put a secondary budget, it goes right to contingency. All that means is that they're not having as much of an increase in spending. There will be an increase in spending if it goes to, God bless you. Do I get another 3 seconds? If it does go to contingency, it just reduces the amount of additional spending. That's all. And by New York State law, they cannot cut back on courses. They can't. They say academic is still provided. What's very insulting to the residents and the parents, for them to hear Dr. LaRocca and the assistant superintendent say, you know, if it goes to the contingency budget, we won't be able to afford pencils, pens, and paper. That's ludicrous. If they don't have funding out of a $67 million budget to prepare for a contingency failure in the budget, something's wrong.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I had another 200 words.
Mr. Cecil.
Short answer.
Beginning with Mr. Anthony Benelli. Could you please cite an issue any of the schools in the district have faced in the last 3 years, and how would you have addressed it as a board member?
Okay, I'll give you two examples. The ever-growing transportation costs doesn't get really addressed. I mean, Dr. LaRocca might mention the transportation goes up year in and year out, but I took the standard approach, and that is you do the analysis. You do the cost-benefit analysis of either, you know, you have the vendors each year jack up the price and we just fork over the more money, or you actually consider what many other school districts have done in New York State, and that is get your own bus fleet. If it wasn't true that we could save millions of dollars, then my question to the board and to the superintendent, why are all these other school districts doing it? Why? The numbers are there itself. You go to my website, you'll see the proposal I made. It was so convincing that the Herald, the newspaper, interviewed me because of the basis of the facts that my proposal was relied on. Dr. LaRocca promised you, the readers, and the residents, that she would do a cost-benefit analysis. That was more than a year ago. I foiled for her report, and the FOIL report was she never did the report. In the budget presentation, she's now saying she's just going to add $384,000 to the transportation costs. Another example is the safety and the health conditions at the schools. You drop your children off and you hope that the administration is going to protect them. But on January 16, 2024, when I was a school trustee, I brought it to her attention, Dr. LaRocca, of the shed, the cinder block shed that's right behind this building. And to this day, she still has not resolved it. I called for a dumpster to be purchased, and at the very least, close the door and lock it like they do at Willow and Howell religiously. But for some odd reason, if you go out there today, you'll see that the door is open. I wrote a letter to her, a registered letter. This is a picture of that dumpster with the garbage spilling out. It's a disgrace. Parents have been calling me. I tell them, call Dr. LaRocca, and I urge everyone watching this video, call Dr. LaRocca. Why can't she get that door closed and locked? And only about 2 months ago in March, she falsely stated that she was only made aware of it by someone in the community. That's nonsense. I put a letter to her, an email on January 16th when I was a school trustee, and she did nothing about it. It's outrageous, and I copied the board and I copied the attorneys, and to this day, it's still posing a health hazard and a safety hazard.
Thank you, Mr. Benelli.
Yep.
We'll go down, Mr. Cecil.
I want to make it clear that I strongly believe that pre-K should be locally. Incidentally, it's not like a return to one place. It was always at Howell, the pre-K. It was never offered locally. Secondly, at Howell, the pre-K students are exposed to other grades. There are older grades at pre-K. So that whole argument does not hold. Finally, in parallel to pre-K, incidentally, I want to make another comment about pre-K. The children know who they're playing with. So when they leave Howell and go back to Wheeler, or they go back to Willow, that friendship has been severed. They don't see them again. But if they were having pre-K at Wheeler, if they were having pre-K at Willow, if they were having pre-K at Deaver, those friendships that they create and bond with, they're going to see them the following year at Deaver, at Willow, Willow, Deaver, and Wheeler. So I think it's very important to have a pre-K locally. We all pay the same taxes, and the burden is incredible for families that have multiple children. I think this parallels with the need to have English as a new language. It's locally provided at the high schools, ENL. The ENL classes, there's like 300 students in ENL. And if from going to 6th grade to 7th grade, if it's identified that the child needs ENL, for the next year, they have to be bused to North. All the kids have to be bused to North from South and Central. That is a big onus on the parents, because if the children want to participate in sports after school, there's only one late bus. So if it's after 5:30, the parents have to pick the child up. And it's again, the separation from high schoolers. The sixth graders have their friends they've gone to, they would like to stay with them, but they can't, because now they have to be bused to North. It's terrible. And by the way, the high school budget and transportation costs, they don't let you know this, it's $9 million in transportation costs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, leadership is crucial, and collaborative behavior among the trustees is going to be crucial to get a lot of things done, and I have faith that we'll get a lot done in the coming years. I'll draw upon one example. When I was the director of computer operations at NYPD's pension fund, we had to cut over to a computerized based system for the pension folders, which many things were dependent upon. I'm sure Officer Marconi knows about it. But in any event, I had to convince, or what we say, cheerlead, the benefits of this new computer system to the 11 different business units at the Police Pension Fund. I was among the first dozen employees who were hired at that brand new agency, and it was critical to make each of the business unit managers grasp the importance and how it can help their business unit get their work done. It also involved addressing all of their employees and their staff as well to buy into this program. So there was a lot of leadership dependency, but you also become the point person. And that's a lot of work, and it's challenging, and I just love it. I think I excel in that environment. And there were other, and that was a multi-million-dollar project, which involved a lot of computerization of the applications over to Police Pension Fund. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to our next question. Anthony Bonelli, you're going to kick it off for us with this first question. It's actually going to be maybe like a 3-part why question, because I'm just trying to make sure I get everybody's voices heard. So, without using the buzzwords, security, teacher retention, transparency, communication, safety, fiscal responsibility, and community engagement, why are you running for the board? And is there a particular issue that motivates you to serve on this board?
Well, the financial aspect runs through almost all of those buzzwords, those issues. And I think the parents are well aware that, the children are handed off 6 hours a day. That's like 30 hours a week. And they can ascertain right now, 8 months ago, where their children's comprehension is in writing, reading, speaking, and in math. So the focus has to be recentered on educating the children and not involved with all these million-dollar projects. For instance, the elementary children in their 6th grade going to the high school. I mean, how many of the parents out there heard of that at the high school they want to spend $6.5 million on a building before 4 weeks ago? Only recently did they bring it to in detail what they want to do. It's outrageous that they collected all that money. But District 13 is guilty also, because they accumulated $13 million in reserve funds. That's money that parents